here somewhere, I'm gonna make a square 100 by 100. So I'm gonna type 100, comma 100, enter, and way in here, there's a square 100 by 100. Okay, just for demonstration purposes. Okay, now I wanna look at that square at full scale. So I'm gonna type MV, enter. I'm gonna pick a point here. I'm gonna go to my snaps. I'm gonna pick midpoint and perpendicular, because I always recommend those beyond. I'm gonna snap over there. Okay? If I want to change the size of my viewport, I can select one of these and pull it over to the side and both those on. I can make it smaller. If you're too close to here, see right here, I don't know if you notice it. Right here, I'm trying to pull it to the right a bit, but the green square is on my red dot. So if I click here, it just snaps back to the same spot. So sometimes if you're trying to adjust your viewport, you may have to hit F3 to turn off your object snap. So that way I can just sort of pull it without it snapping back. Or just turn off your object snap down here. Okay, so here it is, and I'm gonna click in here to activate the viewport. And now I'm gonna look for my little square. There it is. I'm gonna set the scale to 1 to 1. Okay, and I'm gonna lock it. I rolled my mouse a little, so I'm gonna reset it to 1 to 1. And I'm gonna lock it. Okay, until you hit the padlock, it's not done. Okay, and now I'm gonna go into paper space by clicking out here again. Or you can also do it by, if I'm in this viewport, you can also click on model and turn it back to paper space like that. But if you have multiple viewports, it doesn't work as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to paper, and I'm gonna make another viewport beside it. So I'm gonna take MV, enter, and snap from here to here. I'm gonna double click to activate the viewport again. I'm gonna zoom into that little square. This time I'm gonna make this scale 1 to 2. Okay, and I'm gonna lock it. Okay, here's where it's gonna soon get pink. Okay, so this is the same square. This is at full size. This is at 1 to 2, so it's at half size. Okay, when we do text, we want to do our regular text, most of our text at 2 millimeters high. Okay, so in some occasions we're going to have high text. Again, this is the Seneca standards, and the high text will be 2.5 millimeters high. The title text is 3.5 millimeters high. We're just going to deal with the regular text at 2 millimeters high. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into paper space and do something you never really do. I'm going to draw a line right across here. I'm going to offset it by 2 millimeters. Offset it. So the distance between those lines in full scale on the piece of paper is 2 millimeters. And you'll see why I did in a second. Okay, so I'm going to click in here, and I want to put some text in here. And I want the text to be 2 millimeters high. So right over here where it says annotation, I'm going to drop this down. Now these 3 top ones are very important. This is text. So if I click on here, I've made some text styles already. This one's called 001 drawing text. This is 001 title text. Here's 020 drawing text, and this standard one is sort of nothing. Okay? So these are my text styles. These are dimension styles. I made one called dim 001. And here's my multi-leader style. I made one called 001. So the 001, this is a code that I'm gonna use. You can use whatever code you want. But the 001 stands for when I'm using any text or leaders or dimensions on a viewport that's scaled 1 to 1, I'm gonna use this code. So I'm gonna call it drawing text 001. So that drawing text is actually going to be 2 millimeters high. Okay, so let's do that because I have it made already. So I'm going to go to my annotations. Here's my text styles. I'm going to pick 001 drawing text. Okay, and now I'm going to go into this viewport. I'm going to drop down over here. This is how you do text. I'm going to drop down text. You can do multi-line or single line. I'm going to do single line. Single line, and first thing it says is specify a point. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to specify a point. Again, notice I can't snap to this line because this line is in paper space and I'm in the model space. So I will not snap this line. I'm gonna just pick a point that's sort of near that line. And now it's asking me what's the rotation I want. Okay, so if I click up here or anywhere here, the rotation of my text will follow that line. Generally, you're gonna be drawing horizontally, so I could type 0, but normally you're in ortho mode. So I'm just gonna pull that line. You can see the dashes to the right, and that's establishing my 0 angle. Okay, so instead of typing 0, I can just pull it to the right, and now it's giving me the option to type some text, so I'll just type some text. Once I'm finished typing my text, I'll click somewhere else in the drawing, and then hit escape. Okay, so you can see that that text is 2 millimeters high. Now, let's look at this one here, in this viewport here. The same text is there, and it's too small. Why is it too small? Because this viewport is scaled at 1 to 2. It's half the size. So instead of being 2 millimeters high, which is what we want, it's only 1 millimeter high. Okay, so if I want to make a text style that's going to be 2 millimeters in this viewport, how high should I make that text? I made this one 2 millimeters for full size. So this one's going to be scaled down half. So how high should I make that text? 4 millimeters, exactly. So if I'm dealing at 1 to 2, I'm going to make my code called drawing text 002. And what that means to, when you look at it, it's sort of like 1 to 2, okay? And I'm going to make my text size 4. I would just multiply 2 times 2 is 4. If I want to make my high text, it's 2 times 2.5, it would be 5. Okay, and we never really do anything with title text because it's only on the title. Okay, so let's do that now. So I'm going to go to annotations, and I'm going to hit this little A on the left. So these icons on the left is how you make new or modify text dimension or reader styles. Okay, so I click that, and I can see what text styles I have. I have one called 001 drawing text. That's the one I just used, and the height is 2. Okay, I also have a title text. And you can see the height is 3.5, and I also made one for 020 drawing text, and I don't know why I put it there, but if I was doing a drawing at 1 to 20, so that's 1/20th scale, I would have to multiply 20 times 2, right, to get my text to be 2 millimeters high. So that's why I have the text height here is 40. Okay, so you have to multiply your scale by 2 to find out your height. Okay, so just this question, if my drawing was at 1 to 100, okay, how, if I wanted to get 2 millimeter text, and my drawing is 100th scale, 1 to 100, what size text would I have to make 2 millimeter text? 200, exactly. This is fine. Just looked at me like you have headlines, you know, so. Okay, so again, so I have to go, so again, it's 200 over 100 divide makes 2. So all you have to do is multiply by 2. Okay, so anyway, let's make the one for this side first. So I'm going to pick drawing text here and say new. I'm going to start with that one. And I'm going to call it 002 drawing text. And then hit OK. And the only thing I have to change for this drawing text right here is the height, and I'm going to change it to 4. Okay, so again, it's 2 times the height I want my text is, and that's 4, and I hit OK. And now I'm going to go into this viewport. I'm going to make sure my active text style is 002 drawing text. If you just make one, typically it becomes the active one. Okay, but again, you can just go and pick whatever one you want. Okay, so this is the one I want, so 002. So this is active. I'm going to go over here, text, single line. I'm going to zoom in here, pick a point near the line here, pull it to the right to establish the angle, and then I'm just going to type capitals like that, hit escape, and there I've got my text. Okay, so here's the text. Now you can see that there's a bit of a problem because I have my old text showing up over here. The new text I just made shows up here. Yeah. Did you have a question? Yeah, so how do I don't want to see the old one when I have the new one. So what I want to do is I want to make different layers. So again, I should just tell you that there is newer features in AutoCAD that allow you to make one textile and it'll self-size itself. It'll adapt to any viewport scale, okay? In the curriculum, they want you to understand scale, so you're required to do it this way, okay? So just so you understand how scale works, because the other way, people just sort of lose the concept of what's happening when you're scaling things up and down. So this way, I'm hoping you'll learn it. Okay, so you wouldn't have to do it that way, but anyway. So I'm gonna make two layers here. I'm gonna make one layer, so I pick layer properties. I'm gonna make a layer called, I'm gonna click on new layer. I'm gonna just make a layer called text 1-1. I don't think you can use colons in the name, so I just call it text 1-1. So I'm gonna give it a color, I'll make it magenta, okay? So what I want to do is I want to use that text, any text style that's on a 1-to-1 viewport in that layer. I'm going to make another layer here. I'm going to call it text 1-2. Okay, and I'll make this text style red. Okay, I'll close that. So now I've got two text styles. So here's what I'm going to do. In this viewport, I'm going to highlight this viewport. This is the text that's supposed to be at 1-to-1, right? So I'm going to go select the layer text 1-1, 1-to-1, and put it on that layer. This text is only supposed to be the one that's designed for 1-to-2. So I'm going to go select it, and I'm going to put it on the layer called text 1-to-2. I'm going to change this to red. Okay. Okay, so I've got these two on different layers. So in order to not see this one here in this viewport, this is the beauty of this AutoCAD. Again, this feature's only 10 years old. When I drop this down, this first column has a light bulb. It just turns layers off and on. This is from historical AutoCAD when they didn't even have anything, So you generally don't use that. The second column does the same thing as the first column. It freezes or like it makes it visible. When it freezes, I mean makes it visible, or thaw, I say it means to make it visible. This column here makes it visible or invisible all over, in all viewpoints, okay? This third column, this is important, okay? This third column is supposed to look like a viewport with a little sun in it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna turn off, I'm in this viewport here, the 1-to-1, so I'm gonna freeze, that's what it says here, freeze or thaw in current viewport. I'm gonna freeze the layer text 1-to-2, and it disappears. Okay, so what I did is I froze that layer that this is on in that viewport, and it's gone. So now I'm going to go into this viewport, and I'm going to go down here, and I don't want to see the text that's on the layer 1-to-1. So I'm going to freeze the layer in the viewport right here, freeze or thaw text 1-1, and it disappears. So that's how you can control, your text sizes in different viewports. Okay, so we'll do another one, okay, just to reinforce that. So I'm going to double click in here, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to change the scale to 1-to-4. Okay, and I'll lock it. Okay, so now this square is 1/4 the size of the other one. So if I want this text, and you can see how small this text is, if I want the text to be 2 millimeters high, and it's 1/4 size, how high should I make that text? 8. Okay, so again, it's really just a case of multiplying we'll do 1-to-4, 4 times 2, and the size is 8, and I'm going to call it, the code I'm going to use is 004. Okay, so when I see something called text 004, I know I'm going to use that text in any viewport scale of 1-to-4. Okay, so let me make that text style. So I'll go over here. Here's how I make new text styles. I'll start off with this one. I'll say new. I'm I'm gonna type 004, drawing text. Hit OK, and again, I'm done this one here. I'm gonna change the height to 8. And close. So I've made 3 drawing textiles now. You can see them right here. There's 001, 002, 004, and I've made this one the active one. Okay, now I'm gonna go into this report here. I'm gonna go to text, single line. I'm gonna pick a point over there, do a horizontal line to establish the angle, and just make some text, hit escape. Okay, I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm gonna call it text 1-4. Okay, and I'm gonna give it a different color. I'll make it green. Okay, and I'll put this on that layer. Text 1-4. Okay, now once again, I should have put it so it's visible. Okay, I should mention there's grips on these text so you can sort of move them around. Okay, so now I have a new textile. I'm at 0. This viewport's at 1-4. So first of all, I don't want to see the layer 1 to 2, so I'm going to freeze text 1 to 2, and I don't see it. And in this viewport, I don't want to see the 1 to 4 either. So I'll freeze the text in the viewport, the layer called 1 to 4. And now I'm only seeing this one. I've frozen the 2 layers called text 1 to 2 and text 1 to 4. I'm only keeping visible the layer called text 1 to 1 as far as my text layers. In this viewport here, I'll just go in here and highlight that viewport. I have frozen text 1 to 1 and text 1 to 2, and I've only kept visible text 1 to 4. Okay, so that's how you control the visibility, even though you're making a lot of changes. Okay, everyone understand that? Okay, so let's